A missionary family packed their bags and prepared for a new adventure in Albania. God called Delmar, Nati, and 3-year-old Clara to serve in the 1040 window.
We are both from Brazil. I think God placed in our hearts the desire to serve in a different place, in a different environment, in a place where we wouldn't be comfortable, something that will challenge both our ministries.
And we realized very soon some of the challenge that we will face preaching and the gospel, bringing the gospel here to this country.
For years, Albania was a communist territory, banning religion and declaring it the world's first and only atheist state. Communism collapsed in 1990, but even today, religion doesn't seem to be a priority for most people. There are only about 120 Adventists out of nearly 3 million people living in Albania. Delmar, Nati, and Clara were assigned to serve in the city of Korça, at the country's first Adventist church, built in 1994. The first year was especially difficult. Despite their efforts, there wasn't a single baptism or anyone interested in Bible studies.
In the end of my first year, I was really discouraged because I couldn't see anything really big happening in the church. I couldn't see anything really even changing in the church. We associate big things with good numbers, big numbers. So in my first year, I was trying to do my best. I was working a lot to do something big or something important according to my understanding.
At the peak of Delmar's frustration, he received a call to pastor a large church in Brazil. This offer seemed to come at the perfect time, and he shared the exciting news with his wife.
I came and talked to my wife. We got a call to go back to Brazil. What do you think? We're not doing anything here anyway. Why we don't accept that and we just leave? And that's it. She looked to me. She said, do you think that we did everything that we could here in Albania? Do you really think that it's time for us to leave this place? She said, I personally think that we should stay, that the Lord has something prepared for us here. And maybe He wants to teach us something here, and He still wants to use us.
So they declined the opportunity in Brazil and prayed about how God could use them in this challenging part of the world. Delmar and Nati noticed that there were a lot of kids in their neighborhood. Maybe this was a good place to start.
And then we also realized that Clara could be a good missionary to them, because every time that we were coming to our home or leaving our home, and the kids, they saw Clara, so they started saying, hey, Clara, let's play, let's do this, let's do that. We prepare a place to play volleyball, and then we say to them, come, let's play together. And this just happened naturally. And the kids start coming to church, and they start coming every week to church, 2 times a week, playing volleyball, playing with us. And in a few weeks, they knew me as a pastor, they knew Nati, they knew very well Clara, and we were so excited because now the church was full.
They recruited help in the form of 2 Adventist volunteers from Brazil and community volunteers. One of the members, Angela, brought her friend Fation to church with her every few months.
Fation and I, we just connect as a friend, and we start talking about God. We start studying the Bible together. I invite him to be part of our group, and he just was excited. He was really engaged with us. And he said, that's what I want. I want to participate. I want to help these kids. I want to serve this community. And in just a few weeks, he was already helping us with the kids. And the kids also loved him. All these activities just brought us together. And I had the privilege to baptize Fation as my first baptism here in Albania. And I was so happy to see that the Lord was answering to our prayers.
The love of Jesus touched Fation's heart, and he now shares this with others.
When we follow this Jesus method in other peoples in the community, I pray for the hearts to get warm and to follow Jesus.
This church has seen many new faces in the past few months. Church members are connecting with the community through a global mission urban center of influence. Nati uses her gift of music to teach classes to the kids. They love learning to play the violin. The center also offers language courses and a health club, with plans to branch out with more programs.
So when you try something new and then you see that it's working, it already gives you like more hope. And then this also gave us motivation to try different things, not one approach.
Please pray for this ministry as it continues to grow and integrate into the community. And pray for missionary families like Delmar, Nati, and Clara, who are serving on the front lines of mission.
When we were called to come as a missionary, I thought that I was ready to change the world. But it took maybe 1 year to realize that before I do anything, the Lord was trying to change me.
Thank you for supporting the mission of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Ok, você gosta de morar na Albânia? Sim?
My name's Kathleen. My husband came home and he'd been working at the golf course, and he had been talking to other gentlemen there. I don't know of the conversation specifically, but I just know that he was encouraged to listen to Strong Tower Radio and brought the information home to us, and he said, I think we need to go to church. And I said, okay. And I was kind of excited. The Lord had been working on me too. And but then when he said, let's go to the Seventh-day Adventist Church on Saturday, I went, wow, I wasn't expecting that one. But sure, I wasn't opposed to it at all, because as a child I grew up with, my best friend was a Seventh-day Adventist. And so we were in their home, and it wasn't foreign to me as far as Sabbath and not being able to go do things teenagers do from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, no pork, and all of those wonderful things that come along with the Seventh-day Adventist Church. We weren't really a part of any church at that point, and he had grown up as a Baptist in childhood, but that's about all, I think. Now my brother, he's the superintendent of the Northern Michigan Conference of the Free Methodist Church. So I had lived with him for some time, and we built a church school, and so I had some religious background. We hadn't come only a few times. I guess there was a fella at the golf course that was a member here at the church, Pat Briggs, and he and his wife were very kind to us, and even came to our wedding prior to coming to church here. And they were such nice, loving people that it just was not a question as to whether or not we were going to try this. So we ended up trying the church. Our Bible studies were offered by another member in the congregation. He seen us probably the second or third time we came in the door, and he just walked up to us and said, "Is anyone giving you Bible studies?" And we said, "No." And he said, "Well, how would you like Bible study?" And I said, "Sure." And my husband kind of looked at me like we didn't discuss that, but I spoke for us that time. And he stepped up to the plate and we started Bible study. I was ready. I wanted to be baptized. I knew this was my home. And my husband wasn't quite ready yet, and I didn't want to push him into doing anything that he wasn't ready for. It's in God's time, not my time, not pastor's time or our friend's time, but in God's time. So I just went ahead and decided to do this with the encouragement of some other women here who have had to do the same thing. And so then I got baptized, and over time we decided to do the same thing.
Welcome to Making Disciples 101, a Grow video series on the basics of soul winning for you and your local church. Now, Mark, what can a local church do to consistently gain decisions for Christ from the community?
Well, Cameron, we've been talking about decisions and the importance of asking people to make decisions. We've talked about that on a personal level, and now, of course, the question is on a corporate level, what can you do in a church? And the best thing you can do is to provide an environment that's conducive to people making those decisions. And the best time-tested environment we have seen is that of regular public evangelism.
Regular public evangelism. Now, when you hear that term regular, what are we talking about here? Because, you know, sometimes people will say, have you done evangelism? Yeah, we did that 4 years ago, and in 4 more years, we're on a regular cycle. Every
Right.
8 years we're doing. No. Regular means publicly proclaiming the three angels' message in an ongoing, in fact, yearly basis. In your ministry plan for the local church, you should have them integrated into your plans.
Well, the question is, how often do you want decisions? Do you want them every 4 years? Or, you know, we're talking about gaining decisions. So that regularity, you want to have something. There's a dynamic to that public meeting that prompts people, as they're hearing those truths, to make spiritual decisions. So yeah, you want that regular, ongoing thing. And the first step you're going to have in your regular public evangelism is organizing for it. You want to get together your evangelistic team. You want to get together somebody who's your meeting organizer, who's going to oversee all the details. You want to choose your speakers, 1 or 2 speakers. You don't want to go overboard with speakers. I've seen people do it because your listeners connect with the speakers, and you get too many, you lose that dynamic. But get a couple speakers, get your greeters, get your ushers, get your parking lot attendants, and build a team of people. This is a great opportunity for the church to be fully integrated and involved in this process.
And that brings up a good point, the full involvement of the church. When you get those leaders, you know, sometimes you have that perspective that, oh, we've got an evangelist, he's got it, or the pastor and the evangelist, or maybe a key leader. But the purpose of those leadership positions, you mentioned the greeter or the welcome table or whatever the thing is to enlist other members to help them in their work. So we're not just looking at a select few in the church who are going to take this ball and run with it. We're looking to have every member involved in this essential phase of the evangelistic cycle.
That's right. And you've mentioned before the ministry of attendance. Sometimes even just being there and mingling with the guests gives an opportunity. Well, listen to this statement from Evangelism, page 285. It says, after the meetings are through, so this sermon has just been preached in an evangelistic series, there should be a personal investigation with each one on the ground. Well, the speaker's not doing that. These are all the attendees, the guests, the members. Each one should be asked how he is going to take these things, if he is going to make a personal application of them, and then you should watch and see if there's an interest in this one or that. 5 words spoken to them privately will do more than the whole discourse has done.
Amen. So you have your structure set up. You're going to have it regular. You're going to have this full message campaign that's going to build to decisions. You've got your speaker, your leadership, all your members involved. Then the next question people may have, well, you've got all our church members involved. How do we get people there?
Yes.
Well, you got to advertise. In the same way you look for Bible studies, you got to advertise and seek out those people who would like to attend these meetings. So you can advertise in a variety of ways. You can put up a billboard. You can do internet and radio and television media advertising, pass out tracts, direct mailers, but do all of those different things to get the number of people who could possibly be interested up and into your meetings.
That's right. And then finally, you don't want to miss out on personal labor during the meetings. In other words, while the evangelist is preaching up front, there needs to be ongoing connecting with the individuals, leading in baptismal studies, making home visitations, providing literature for the guests, so that all the way through the meeting, not only are they learning from up front, but they're learning from things they can read in the meeting, personal contact, personal conversations, personal visits, personal appeals, baptismal studies, all of those things leading to ask for those decisions.
Amen. So in your local church, we would urge you to make regularly held full message meetings, public evangelism, a part of, a centerpiece, in fact, of your ministry plan. Now may the Lord bless your efforts and grow your church.